Yeah, Traverse City Horse Shows is proud to partner with Captive One Advisors to offer a $30,000 rider bonus for open jumper riders. The bonus is determined based on points accumulated in classes offering $25,000 or more in prize money throughout the Traverse City Spring Horse Shows, the Great Lake Equestrian Festival, and the Traverse City Fall Shows. The bonus will be presented following the American Gold Cup Grand Prix, presented by Captive One Advisors on September 18th. We'd like to thank Captive One for their sponsorship of the Rider Bonus. Captive One is a family of companies that assesses, forms, and manages captive insurance companies. With the captive insurance company that you own, instead of paying premiums to a commercial carrier, you pay premiums to your captive. Any money that is not utilized or paid in claims stays in reserves, can be invested, and may become profit in your captive. For feasibility review, business owners can go to captiveone.com. FEI Article 274.2.5 here for this next competition. Many horse and rider combinations must complete both phases in order for this to count as a qualifying round. Phase 1 will begin over the Major League Show jumping vertical or right beside the Traverse City Horse Show's arcs, jumping towards the Grand Prix lawn. Riders will take a right-hand turn to the second fence, Premier Equestrian Oxer, jumping up the ring towards the judges' booth. Then fence number 3, a slight bend in the line there to that Platinum Performance vertical. Left-hand turn around the island to number 4, the Net Jets combination. First of 2 combinations on the course, the only combination here in phase 1 for A and B Oxer to a vertical, and then a direct approach to fence number 5, the Captive One Oxer. With the Marlin wings. As I take a left-hand turn around fence number 8 to the Cabana Coast Oxer at number 6. And then the Southern Arches vertical at 7 comes up next as riders ride past the gate. And on to fence number 8, the Turtle Creek Casino Oxer. And 9AB, the Birch combination, cutting across the ring, vertical to an Oxer, and then fence number 10, the Show Plus vertical with the water tray underneath, and then back towards the home gate. The horse head vertical at number 11 with the black and gray rails, and then a bending line to number 12, the White Oxer with the orange, gray, and white rails. Times allowed have been set at 30 and 52. Faults are accumulated over both phases. And again, horse and rider combinations must complete both phases in order for this to count as a qualifying round. All right, Simon McCarthy will be the first to show in our five-star two-phase competition. And the Irishman aboard an entry from the Rock Ridge Farms in Norman, Indiana. Gotcha.
Well, a very good afternoon and welcome to Traverse City. It's a little bit of a damp afternoon here, but things are all set to run for the first of our 5 stars of the week. So, $1,000 class to start us off. This really a chance for them to get into their stride. Not quite the one they wanted there. Simon McCarthy and Gotcha just firing things up again from that fence there. Hannah's going to be alongside me here in the box as well, watching on as they come into this class. And say first step in, it's a 2-phase competition, as Jason was just saying, and it is going to be the first 5 fences on the track, and then second part of the track being 6 through to 12. First set of fences 1 to 5, time allowed at 30 seconds, and 52 seconds on the second part of that as well. And they're just Simon getting into the groove of this course so far. Cedric Longuis, our course designer from France, here this week, heading here for the first time through the 5-star competitions here in the US, and looking forward to how this plays out. Just having the first part of that double at 9 down there, 1 stride distance, and then 11 and 12 will be your final couple on the course, coming back towards the in-gate here for this wonderful arena here in Traverse City as we turn here for Major League Jumping. Final one, just to have that one down as well, I'm afraid, and so it'll leave them, I think, 12 in fact in total there, in total for Simon McCarthy and Gotcha. Hannah is joining us as well. She'll be with us throughout the week. Well, Simon McCarthy there, the first of those to go. And now on to Nikki Galligan and Unique Star for Ritzrent LLC, the 14-year-old for Niagara de L. For Nikki, of course, we saw him back in the first stage of Major League Jumping this season in Vancouver. And that was up at the wonderful Thunderbird Show Park. A little bit of a break before we headed here to Traverse City. And now the events start to come thick and fast over the next few weeks. Of course, we'll head up to Canada, to Angelstone, and then new venue too, to Ottawa there, the Wesley Cloverfields Parks there. That's a beautiful grass arena to take on there too. But Nikki Galligan now very much in the groove of Major League Jumping, having got 1 event behind him. Went very well there on the grass up at Thunderbird 2. You see that's fence 5, that just drops first part of the track. But this really $1,000 class is the first chance for them to really give the horses a spin around here and get them into the run for the week. So not going to worry about that too much. Nikki has been building up the string of horses. Unique Star, another good addition in there for him. The horse ready to go at the Grand Prix level. And just at the water train, it'll turn back. Quite a bit of breeze out there, Hannah, I think.
Yeah, exactly, Stephen. There's a little bit of a breeze, but it's certainly drier conditions than it was earlier. I mean, as you say, with this horse especially, it's a really good opportunity for the horses and riders to get used to the arena, to get used to their partnerships. This is quite a new ride, actually, for Nikki, Unique Star. It was previously ridden by Hanna Moritzson of Sweden and also by Mathieu Bio.
Absolutely, so very good start for them. 14-year-old horse, so again it gives him another horse up there to sit alongside his top mare, of course, that we've seen jumping at a number of the big events so far. Very well. So Nikki Galligan gives us the best so far, 4 and 4 through both of those phases, 55.82. Sydney Schulman Desiderio, as she is now, got married last year. Narcotic Van Het Dingenshoff. This is a combination with a phenomenal record so far.
Yeah, absolutely. They very rarely drop more than 1 pole. They've actually got about an 80% rate of either jumping clear or having just 1 pole down. Previously, the horse was ridden by Erin Ballard and by Georgia Tame of Great Britain as well. But as you say, absolutely going from strength to strength with Sydney. Just a 9-year-old as well.
Yeah, saw her, of course, doing a lot of winning here previously, and this is another one to get into that same pattern for her, very much at home here in Traverse City. Of course, based up in Greenwich, Connecticut. So through that first phase.
And I think there's a good few places that they can shave off a little bit of time in the second phase. She's just taking quite an inside line and quite a tight turn back there. Really going for the time. Has to be a little bit careful now in the latter part of the course, but again takes the inside turn. Could be our first double clear.
Yep, there we go. Very efficient so far. There we go. Nice one for Sydney Schulman-Desiderio and Narcotique, taking her to 42.23. And so will be the early leader in this class, of course, starting off our 5 stars for the week. So Sydney Schulman-Desiderio, as you say, some nice turns in there to get them into a nice position to run off there. So Sydney Schulman leads the way. Mark Blumen now, and Noortje van der Veen-Hulvel, 9-year-old, but also with a lot of wins behind them already, Hannah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a horse that Mark's ridden since 2021. And they also competed here last month as well, very successfully, just having one pole down, but some clears as well. They were also 15th in the 3-star Kentucky Invitational competition earlier on as well. Mark, of course, riding as well for Team Helios on the Major League show jumping circuit.
Absolutely, and of course those teams, new look to those this year as well. And with Trailblazers starting off well in the season, but of course Helios being that top team in Thunderbird Show Park already this season with that first of the Canadian stages of Major League Jumping. Team Kits out in prevalence this week as well, has jumped the first phase and decided they've done enough. So waves her hands, and Mark Bloom and Noortje van der Veen-Hulvel to head on out. But as you mentioned, Team Helios there, headed up by Ashley Bond, gives us a good wave.
Yeah, and I think it'll be really interesting this month to see how the team competition progresses. As you say, we had that first leg, that fantastic competition in Vancouver, and now 3 separate legs all in 1 month. It'll be so interesting to see how that team leaderboard is shaken up, because Team Helios getting off to such a great start. But of course, other teams that have been so consistent in the 2021 season, like Eye Candy, sure to be hot on their heels in the next few legs.
Certainly are. Nicolette Hirsch, and what a career she's built up already, has been a team rider for the US Iron Horse Equestrian of California's 13-year-old by Chaco Blue. Just going to get settled down here. Chateau 7 for Nicolette. Big order in this, and large number in our opening starting class, over 70 to come in this, as you can see from their 4th of 75. It's been a bit damp over the last few hours, but hopefully perking up now.
Certainly getting quite a lot drier, and hopefully that will continue throughout the week. But as you say, this has been a really good partnership. They've been jumping in the 3-star classes here in Traverse City last month. Had a couple of top 20 places, but 2 clears and just the 1 fence down in another round in a jump off here so far. But certainly a partnership that have been going from strength to strength in the last couple of years, competing all around the USA and Canada as well.
Yeah, one to feature as part of the Major League last year as well. Nice quiet start for Nicolette Hurt and Chateau 7 here. Just getting settled down. We're a little bit on their toes to start off with. Quite a bit of breeze blowing around. And that can just unsettle a little bit. This early first part. 4 AB, 5 over the Marlins to finish off the captive 1 fence, and now on to phase 2.
Yeah, quite a short 5 strides going down from the double at 4 to fence 5, and quite unusual. Obviously this is a 2-phase special competition, but quite unusual to have the second phase starting after the 5th fence.
Yeah, usually balancing it up with the 6, but either way, all works. So 12 fences in the track, as it's a 2-phase special, so in theory they jump all of the fences, but Nicolette Hurt there deciding not to complete, and just deciding they've done enough. Maybe just a little unsettled by the breeze, but either way, just a little bit on their toes there. So they've done enough. It is Sydney Schulman-Desiderio leading so far, Narcotique in the early stages here.
Yeah, I think Chateau was just, as you say, looking a little bit unsettled, but certainly there was plenty to like in some parts of that first phase, but perhaps better to save the horse for another day.
Yep, certainly done the job. They've got another class tomorrow as well. Remember, the team class this week comes up on Friday. That's going to be 5 o'clock local time here in Michigan. And then on Saturday, we're going to be seeing also similar time for that Major League Jumping Grand Prix as well. And what a combination this has been. These have been the stars of Major League Jumping last year. Paul O'Shea, Squirt Gun. Good to see them back in action. Really started to step back into their usual phase up in Thunderbird a few weeks ago, and now has really settled back in. Very good strike rate and a very good horse.
Yeah, extremely good strike rate. This is a combination who, as you say, were real stalwarts of Team Eye Candy last year. With this horse, Paul made 6 appearances on the team, but he also won the overall Major League Show Jumping individual standings in 2021. They had 4 top 5 places at Spruce Meadows in July alone, so they really have been having a fantastic time recently. On that team in Vancouver, and perhaps they might be on the team lineup this week as well.
Maybe. Known as Coach, the man that leads the team often for the Eye Candy squad, and they've been strengthening their team in terms of horses and riders even ready to go into battle this season. And this has been one of the keys for them. He took a little bit of time off at the end of last year, but is now absolutely, look, airborne over fence coming out of that first section.
Yeah, they Team Eye Candy were 4th in the Vancouver first leg of the series. This pair just had the 1 fence down in the first round, but had a really good fast time in the first of the jump-off rounds. Riding there in Vancouver alongside Connor Swale and Jacqueline Steffens. Those 3 really were absolutely key for the team last year.
Yeah, right the way through, of course, the team, as you mentioned, that topped the championship, but this was the man that was not only leading the team in the saddle, but leading the team on the ground. Did it brilliantly. Erica Hatfield, of course, owner of the team, and they've got a great camaraderie amongst them. And for Paul, taking a little bit of a longer route to the last fence, doesn't really need again in this class to chase time. We'll see a lot more of that later on in the week. A reminder, of course, that tomorrow the big class, over 100,000 in the prize fund for that as we look forward to that. So big stuff to come. Really now just a chance to really see these horses in action. Squirt Gun looking ready for some big jumping coming up throughout the week for them. And it'll be 63.23, so it'll be 12 for time in there, so there's plenty of time added. Of course, it's 1 for 1 now for time fault, so 1 second added for every 1 fault added for every second over the time allowed. So Squirt Gun in there on 12. So score not quite what they would have wanted, but it's all down to time. Don't worry about that one. Kyle King had a brilliant run here last year. Now interesting to see him on Chess, which was a ride briefly for Kent Farrington, still with Kent Farrington, but this horse that was ridden by Nick De La Joyo until recently as well, had a really nice partnership. And Kyle last year also was finishing on the podium here, Hannah.
Yeah, absolutely. A podium finish for him, and it's a horse that's been, as you say, extremely successful in the past. And it's, of course, owned by Wembley Farms, but it's also a 12-year-old now, so had a little bit of time to get some mileage under the belt, and it will just be interesting to see how they tackle this course in terms of that preparation for the rest of the week.
Yeah, Nick De La Joyo coming up a little bit later on with Cornet's Cambridge, which is a horse that he's been going so well on. This has been a good backup to it, but will be really good to jump in and see how they go this week, Hannah.
Yes, exactly. We've got a good few riders with a few horses in the lineup in this class here. There's 73, in fact, on our list. But as you say, Nick, with this horse in particular, it's really interesting actually to see these horses jump with different riders, I think, at the top level. This has been 20th in the 3-star Grand Prix here last month. A couple of fences down with Nick, but Kyle now taking on the reins.
Yeah, Carl with that terrific run, finished on the podium behind Beezy Madden here last year in the Grand Prix in the opening stages. And for him, he's really found his feet. Again, it went to a good move into the big 5-star level for Kyle King, giving him a great opportunity, which he also took hold of to finish well in Thermal last year as well. Kelly shot Teddy Z, a horse that came through Dolman show jumping initially, Sandra Dolman, and really built this one up together on the Crusaders team. And Kelly shot was one that was, again, getting used to the big time in Thunderbird a few weeks ago, Hannah.
Yeah, she was. She jumped this horse particularly in the two-star competitions there at Thunderbird Show Park. They won the two-star Grand Prix, in fact. That was in June at Thunderbird Show Park, but they had 3 top 10 finishes there, and that featured 4 clears for them at that venue.
Yes, very nicely done there, and to say gives them a good lead into this 5-star level here this week on the Crusaders squad. Just leaves the legs hanging as they get a little bit of a quick move down to that double. And we'll see what the week holds from, as you say, 2-star success in Canada. This similar sort of level in terms of the level of the fences, etc. And that may well get their shot on the team this week as well. Beezy Madden on their squad, of course. It's very little introduction as one of the sport's leading lights throughout a fabulous career that's included Olympic gold. Now had a good chance most this year of this pairing together. Just sitting on the 4 at the moment, comes on the inside turn here. The chance really to get a good stretch out around this arena here in Traverse City. So there we go. We'll finish on a score of 9, 4 jumping from the first round, 5 from the second, 9 in total, 56-39. That rail out of the first phase there for Callie Shot and Teddy Z. The little builder for the week. Sean Jobin now of Canada, and Darius for the Foxridge Farm Stables. Getting good experience, 14-year-old Dutch-bred ride by Warrant. Warrant that sired a number of very good horses, including Garrett, which was ridden, of course, by Beezy Madden. Sean, part of the team that's got very much a Canadian feel to it, Hannah.
Yeah, he rides on the Show Plus Northern Lights team, and was on that team at the first leg in Vancouver, but there he rode Kokelico VH Hoverland Z. This is a little bit of a different horse, quite a different proposition, but it's certainly a pair that you really would want to have your eye on. They were second in a 3-star Grand Prix at Tryon at the end of last month, but they've had a good few top 10s as well. They've had a 6th place in a 4-star Grand Prix at Saugerties as well. Really, really coming up the ranks. Lots of good top 10, top 5 placings in the Grand Prix, and as I say, right the way up to 4-star level so far.
Yeah, another one just having that Marlin fence, the captive 1 fence at 5 down, unfortunately, just as they move down that line. Just saying it's a little bit short on the 5 strides there. Again, not too much to worry about in terms of this class, but for later on in the week, that's not the kind of expense they can afford into the team class. Sean, a new signing this year as well into Major League Jumping. I think he's going to say he's done. Yes, he is. So Sean heads for home too. Sydney Shulman Desiderio leading so far, Narcotic on 42-3. Either way, always nice to get a win behind you earlier on into the week. Say first day of competition here. We'll be with you through each of the days upcoming. Tomorrow into the big classes, the last of one of those coming up for the 5-star, $138,000 there. Friday, 5 o'clock into the afternoon as well, we'll see the Major League team class, and then on Saturday seeing the Grand Prix as well. Now to the well-experienced Shane Sweetnam, the Spike Coast Science, and Shane comes in van at Inkenveld, and for them again it's been getting into their stride over the last couple of weeks as well here, Hannah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you say, Shane is so extremely experienced. He's 20th in the world rankings at the moment. He's ridden this horse for the last few months, and they've had 9 clear rounds, 9 out of 13 rounds, which is a 69%. It's really impressive. Anyone you might ride in the team competition, he rode Alejandro for Spy Close Spies in Vancouver just for the one fence down, but the second fastest round in the first jump-off round there as well. So he's certainly a talented team rider as well as a talented individual rider, and this horse is really going from strength to strength. Just a 9-year-old, but really one that you certainly would perhaps think would be a good choice for the team.
Yeah, certainly, of course, has been a horse ridden. Alejandro has been ridden right the way through the championship level. This one getting those boots wet now at the big competitions. Shane Sweetnam leading up that team for the Spyco Spies. And for him, as you say, great team rider. In fact, took him to European gold for the Irish team back in 2017 in Gothenburg, and again has been a man great for the Irish and for the Spyco squad. Certainly knows how to team ride. Just go round for the one time fault. That was in phase 1 there. 30.11 was the time there, so just a fraction over. Phase 2, no trouble at all, 47.79, and just again testing the gears out for Lewis van Ickenveld. A combination overall 67% clear at that 140 level, so one to watch out for this week as they move up, they say, potentially onto that team run later on this week. Now, what's looked a very impressive horse this year is for the Crusaders with Nick de la Joya. We mentioned him a little bit earlier on. This is the Berry Group's Cornets Cambridge, 10-year-old by the very good Belus de Reventon. That was, of course, as is the ride upcoming for Brian Mowbray, looking towards those World Championships next week as well. So certainly got the blue blood breeding here for this horse. And so far this Haddam, they're notching up win after win.
Yeah, they've had 8 top 10 placings, which includes 3 wins in 2022 alone. They won a 3-star Grand Prix in Wellington in April, very impressive performance there, as well as a 4-star jump-off class in Wellington as well. And as you say, the horse is actually only a 10-year-old, so it's really so impressive that they've had such a fantastic record already, but extremely consistent with those 8 top 10 finishes this year alone.
Yeah, a horse that's really impressed so far. The De La Joya family, of course, have been great producers of horses with Nick, but also, of course, many Grand Prix. His dad, many Grand Prix wins. Nick, has got plenty to his own name as well now. Several big horses now into the top flight that have come through the Wembley Farms team. As we mentioned Chess a little bit earlier on. But this is the one that he's really got his heart set on and has really put Nick into those Grand Prix success stories so far this year. So again, just going to take things nice and quietly. Not going to get too deep into the well this week because the rest of the week is what it's all about for Nick. 2 time faults there, 53.67. So 2 time. But again, not too much to worry about. Goes into 3rd place so far with Cornets Cambridge for Nick de la Joya. Shane Sweetnam we saw going into 2nd with Noah State on 47.79, and Sidney Shulman Desiderio still leading at 42.23. Back we go to the Eye Candy squad, and this time Jacqueline Steffens, Cat Ninja for the Eye Candy jumpers, the 14-year-old Dutch bred ride by Zorocco Blue. And well for Jacqueline, alongside with the other horse, of course, Freaky has been notching up a really good success story for her over the last couple of seasons. And Erica Hatfield and the Eye Candy team giving her great opportunity there, and she's really grasped it. We also saw her on the squad for the Canadians this year as well. But this is a combination that have been already notching up the wins already this season.
Yeah, they won the 5-star jump-off class in Vancouver. And as you say, such a key part of the Eye Candy team. Freaky's the horse that Jacqueline has ridden most on that team, but Cat Ninja certainly coming up with so many top 10 placings this year alone. I don't even know that you'd really say that Cat Ninja was a sort of second string to Freaky for Jacqueline, because it's been just getting better and better as the year's gone on. Great for her to have the 2 particular top rides there to choose from at the top level.
Yep, certainly need the depth of the stables these days to be able to be continuing with the 5 stars throughout, and Jacqueline's certainly highly competitive now and again. Paul O'Shea being a big part of that squad as well. Really has now settled into being one of the top riders here, both north up into Canada, and spending, of course, a lot of time competing in the US as well. Jacqueline then just to the last, and 55.89, just going to have the 4 there, and that's going to be coming up for time. Remember, time allowed of 52 in that second phase, so that'll take them to 4 for Jacqueline and Cat Ninja, but one to watch out for this week as well as they prep up. Really nice looking combination coming up that have come right back to the top. She's a rider that's actually ridden through to the World Cup finals in the early part of her career, took a break for her career, and is now back to riding as well. And has her heart very much set on the top again. Cascaretto from Take 2 LLC. Vanessa Hood trains with Kent Farrington and has been highly, highly competitive, Hannah.
Yeah, this is a ride that she took on in 2021 from Jana Frederica Meyer-Zimmermann. And as you say, they've been going fantastically recently. They had 3 top 5 placings at Spruce Meadows just over the last couple of months, with all of those featuring double clears. She was also 8th in a 2-star class there. Did fantastically well in Vancouver as well. 16th in the 2-star Grand Prix, but also 2 more top 10 finishes there as well. I mean, really, when you look down her record, they've certainly, you can really see the improvement in this pair as well. You can really see the number of top 10 finishes just ramping up and up and up for this pair.
Yeah, certainly built up their confidence and went very well here last year, but now really building that confidence through in Vancouver a few weeks ago. Another one that will have headed to Calgary too, to get some good mileage under their belts. Strengthen the string with a couple of other rides too in the early part of 2022. One that you're going to have to watch out for coming up over the next 12 months. But for a team rider with Major League, she could be a real secret weapon for the Logano team. I think this year just slides that one away fairly gently. Just a little flatter over that vertical. And again, nice long loop to these final couple of fences. Not too worried about the time. But even with this steady around, you can see they've got some speed under the bonnet to use later on into the week. So it'll put them on 9 for time, 56.0, so well, 4 for jumping, and the rest for time. 5 for time, they're 56.04 for Vanessa Hood and Cascaretto. Total of 9 for them for the Take 2 LLC. Note your notebooks for that one in the teams. And one that's proved themselves with World Cup wins is Hunter Holloway now. For Peter Conspita, being also on the team for Team USA in the Nations Cups, even into this year. And this is a lovely combination with a very good strike rate when we start looking through the jumper app stats as well. 56% at 145, 55% overall. But it's been a long list of wins, Hannah, and they've really been covering the stakes with them.
Yeah, they really have. Very recently they were second in a 3-star Grand Prix at Ocala, but they've got 4-star wins in a range of locations, as you say, from Fort Worth to Tryon. Also competed very successfully, as you just touched on there, in Las Vegas at the World Cup show there. Hunter's also 21st in the under-25 world rankings at the moment as well, so that just really shows you what a consistency Hunter has as a rider, let alone with this 11-year-old horse. Definitely ones to watch for the Crusaders. Again, Hunter rode on the Crusaders team in Vancouver, but that was with Dana de Kerglen. Pepita Conspita, certainly a consistent horse for her that could well be on the team again this week.
Yeah, we will see. This was a pair that headed to the World Cup finals this year as well. And so with that behind them, a chance to concentrate on the team jumping on this 11-year-old German bred from DSP Conspirit out of Pamina. She from Kansas, Hunter Holloway, now well established on the Florida circuit in the early part of the year as well, as most of these riders are. Very neatly over the show plus vertical. And again, not under too much pressure. Just going to go on the outside line of the Major League fence for a final couple of fences. It's going to pick up some time along the way, but again, they're not going to lose sleep over that. 61.31, so that will see 10 for time there. That's all on the clock with the Peter Conspita and Hunter Holloway. But again, nice round to put them ahead for the rest of the week. Lovely to see that horse in action and ready to go for the big stuff coming up over the next few days. Alex Granato now and Calcian W. Brilliant clear round jumpers. Those familiar with the sport will know this pair very, very well. They've been World Cup winners previously. Won at Deerage back in 2019 there as well. We're notching up the wins there. And also previous winners of Grand Prix wins here in Traverse City, Hannah.
Yeah, absolutely. Winning the Grand Prix here, the 5-star Grand Prix back in July of last year with a great double clear, of course, in a very, very fast time. They were then 11th in the following week's 5-star Grand Prix, so actually 2 really good results. They were competing at the World Cup in Tryon as well. That was back in October of last year. But lots of clear rounds. This horse very rarely drops more than one pole, and in fact has only done so once in rounds completed since 2021.
Wow, yeah, very good run of stats for them. Averages under 4 faults out of 134 starts, 15 FEI wins behind the Pan Am, of course, a bronze medal team as well from 2019. Jumped to the Nations Cup final last year too. Been a little bit quieter over the winter months, but now very much into full flight here for Alex Granato, who's also been strengthening the string with a few rides to add alongside Calcian W. He's 14 years of age now, but by, of course, the hugely successful Chaco Blue. And there, he's just going to pick up a little bit for time along the way, 54.19. So going to be a score of 3 for them, for Alex Granato and Calcian W. And again, watch out for them come the Grand Prix, because Michigan is very much a happy hunting ground for this pair. Molly Ash-Corley, Dior PZ. New ride for her. It was one that was ridden by Brian Mowgray earlier this year. Back into Florida. And Molly is one of those riders that we're going to see later on into the year when we get into September, where they compete for the American Gold Cup, who's put her name on that golden trophy as well. Great experience behind her, having ridden on US teams a number of times throughout her career. Harrisburg Grand Prix in more recent times, and a lot of other wins behind her as well. Well, this 11-year-old by Diorado. And for Hannah, this one, again, fewer stats for this horse, having been a fairly new partnership.
Yeah, fewer stats, Stephen, but actually really impressive. They've jumped 6 clears out of 8 rounds internationally together, so 75% clear round rate for them as a combination. All of those were at Tryon, but certainly a really impressive statistic at this really early stage in their partnership. As you say, the horse has been ridden by Brian Mowgray, also by Emma Augier-du-Moussac of the Czech Republic as well. So the horse has had quite an interesting career itself so far, and really going from strength to strength with Molly, certainly a partnership that is well suited to each other.
Yeah, certainly is one to build on, and one that has built up already. Chaco Blue the second, Santiago Lambre of Brazil. And lovely to see this pair in action. Very impressive horse again by Chaco Blue, now 15 years of age. And Santiago last year, it was a very good run-up in Canada as well.
Yes, exactly. With this 15-year-old going really, really well there. They've had a really good number of rounds recently, though. They've had a third in a big 3-star competition at Ocala, a win in a 3-star Grand Prix, again at Tryon, a second in a 3-star Grand Prix at Wellington as well. So arguably a pair who've also been really getting the miles up geographically, as well as in plenty of different competitions. But one that Santiago's just been riding this year, this horse. They also jumped in the World Cup at Ocala as well, just 1 pole down there. Previously the horse was ridden by Jerome Doubledown, and in the past by Luciano Diniz of Portugal as well.
Absolutely, not a bad list of riders to produce the horse through. As I say, he was having a very good run last year as part of the Major League Jumping individually. He produced with Rotterdam, who's the man who won medals through Olympics, World and European Championships. Very nice combination that also looked very impressive with Luciana before moving on. Now quietly just around this two-phase again. Going to pick up time, but not going to worry about that too much. Really just about getting the athletic stretch out. Just pops the last, and there'll be time in there as well. So total of 10. But again, it's one that will look even more impressive when the fences go up and we get into the big stuff for Chaco Blue. The second is Santiago Alabre, goes into 11th place so far. Cindy Shulman still leading. Kent Farrington and Orafina. No, that's going to be Jordan Coyle, Picador. It's a 15-year-old by Lupicor. Jordan Coyle again, one of the real big deliverers of top results over the last 12 months. We saw him win the Grand Prix, of course, in California last year at the wonderful venue at the Desert Horse Park. And again, he's been notching those wins up since, including in Canada there, Hannah.
Yeah, he won the 5-star Major League Grand Prix at Vancouver at our first leg with Ariso, time that nobody else could catch. Having said that, though, Picador, as you say, has been a fantastic horse for him. One that he's, again, been jumping plenty of clears. This is a 15-year-old now. He had a win in a 2-star at Calgary. Was 16th in the 5-star winning round there, 4th in a jump-off 5-star class as well at that competition. But they really do have a lot of top 5 placings under their belts. They also won a 4-star competition at North Salem in New York. That was back in May. But they really compete in quite a lot of competitions, this pair. You know, they really do get the experience under their belts, and it really does pay off for them. A hugely successful combination.
Yes, Jordan Coyle, who rode the first winning round of Major League Team Jumping here last year as well, so he gets that honour and has kept up a good record ever since. He's been also competing in Europe briefly before heading back to the home base of the USA. Also going to be on the clock, but again, not too much to worry about, because for the rest of the week they will be flying around here. 55.08, finishing on the 4 there for Jordan Coyle and Picador. 15 years of age, not too much to teach that horse now, they just know how to win. Kent Farrington, Orafina. And for this 10-year-old Dutch-bred mare for fashion, it's been a really impressive year as well. It's been a year where this horse has really come into its own right. Kent Farrington having built up a newer string of horses now, the likes of the Great Griselle, still very much part of that, his Arca Grand Prix winner, but now is putting the next generation super group of 8, 9 and 10-year-olds within Kent's string. And this has been one to certainly impress, Hannah.
Yeah, they had 3 wins at Calgary last month, all at 5-star level. Also had a win in the 5-star Grand Prix at Vancouver the week after the Major League show jumping show there. But they've had plenty of other 5-star wins down their record, not only in those Major League competitions, as I say, also in Calgary and in Wellington, in Calgary last year as well, and also in Tryon. Kent, of course, number 10 in the Longines World Rankings at the moment. Such a great rider for the Lugano team.
Yes, a very good addition to have Kent Farrington a part of the scene this year, alongside BZ Madden, of course, as well. Some big star names now part of the squads for Major League Jumping. It's a neat little turn right back inside there, the Southern Archers fence. And again here, always a chance in these classes just to test a few of the buttons, the odd little sharp turn in there, just to get the horses used to what might be coming up later on in the week when they don't have to put the full pressure on now. Kent Farrington certainly going to be a force to be reckoned with the latter part of this year, with these horses really coming into the right experience level, and for the next coming years as well. He's done a great job, as ever, as all the top riders do, of just keeping the flow coming of top equine talent. Finishes on a score of 9 in the end, 56.3 for Kent Farrington and Aura Fina. So just flick away that last fence and a little bit of time to add on there. Erin Davis-Heineken and Leone for the October Hill sales. Based down in Texas, and were regulars on the circuit last year as part of Major League Jumping. She's the past winner of Grand Prix down in Wellington, Florida. A lovely combination together now. The horse 13 years of age by Leo van Vels. The 13-year-old mare has been a really good deliverer of results for her, and a good steady one as part of Major League Jumping last year, Hannah.
Yeah, they were absolutely really a combination that you saw a lot on the Major League show jumping circuit last year. They jumped at Thermal, at Monterey, San Miguel, at Caledon, and here at Traverse City. They were 9th in the 5-star Grand Prix here in the second week of competition, just picking up 5 penalties in the first round. It was 6th very recently in a 3-star Grand Prix at Thermal. That was earlier on this year, but as you say, really keen competitors on the Major League show jumping circuit, and also keen competitors all the way up to 5-star level, with plenty of good results for the team and individually.
Yeah, she and husband Christian, who were part of that. Christian, brilliant win for them back into Mexico last year as well. Was looking forward to those stages that come up onto the circuit coming into October, November. Just dropping a rail there as we'll head to San Miguel del Allende and of course Monterey. Monterey for 2 weeks this time. A beautiful championship venue back into October, November. Just on the 4 then for Erin Davis-Heineken and Leone, and we'll just put a little bit of time on there too to take them to 7 in all for Erin. Just touches that one behind, just leaves a little bit of leg on that one. Gets a nice little turn up to that. And we'll go into 8th place overall on the 7. Sydney Shulman Desiderio still leading with Narcotique on 42.23, all with their own agenda this afternoon. It's chasing for the win or just setting them up for the rest of the big 5 stars this week. Callie's shot now, and Garant, and the 11-year-old Dutch-bred horse by Warrant that I mentioned a little bit earlier on. Super horse that was produced through with BZ Man. Of course, Callie training with the Madden team on the Crusaders squad. And we see her back in, Hannah.
Yeah, as you say, she's been riding this horse since earlier this year, competed it in Wellington, in Vancouver and Calgary. And they've had 5 top 10 finishes together. 4 of those coming at Calgary. They were in June at 3-star and 5-star level. There was only 1 round that they jumped in Calgary where they dropped more than 1 pole, so really sort of cementing their partnership. Callie also a key part of the Crusaders team. The horse that she rode at leg 1 in Vancouver was Charlie, but certainly be interesting to see if Garant is up there in consideration for the team this week.
Yes, hugely experienced horse with BC Man, of course. She rode the horse to win the American Gold Cup when the horse was just 8 years of age. And now an experienced 11-year-old in Callie's hands as the next generation benefiting from that superb start. Goes a little bit wide around there again, not under any great pressure here this afternoon. Pops through, tail flying. Show plus fence with ease. And again, not having to use too much of this fabulous power this horse has got. It's going to be time, of course, on the clock. But another pair that will, when the fences go up another couple of holes, be still very much in their comfort zone. So going to be time to add there too. 13 in the second phase, 4 in the first phase. Airborne over the net Jets fence. And a nice little shape over the show plus vertical. So we'll give them a score of 70 overall for Callie's shot there, and Carrington now takes us to the 21st of 75. Connor Swale now, Vital Chance Del Rock, continues to be up there in the world's top 10. Connor, the Irishman, also part of the Eye Candy squad this year, joins them on a permanent basis into 2022 on 30-year-old by De Montesemi. It would be easier for me to list the classes he hasn't won, Hannah.
Yes, absolutely. You know, Connor himself is just doing fantastically well. He's 4th in those world rankings, as you say, consistently up there in recent times. And many of his wins recently have been with this horse. He's had 5 wins in 2022 alone with this horse. A 3-star Grand Prix at Tryon in July and another 3-star jump-off class there. Also won the 3-star Kentucky Invitational with this horse. And also the Welcome Speed Cup at that very same show back in April. They've been fantastically consistent.
Yes, they have, winning in front of huge crowds there in Kentucky. That, of course, part of the Land Rover 3-day event week as well. The Split Rock team putting that on, and good to see big crowds watching there, and he relishes that. He's also had a few trips over to Europe. But Swale, again, I think will keep the powder dry in this class and be targeting tomorrow's big one with just short of 140,000 there. As you see, just makes a little adjustment going round quietly. But as we can see from the results and the way he's sitting in the world rankings now, real renaissance for his career. He's worked so hard and now got a really good set of horses around him. And riding at his very best. The good thing with jumping is, with age, often everybody gets better and better at it. It'll swing tight to the rail. And coming home with time on the clock, but again, notching up the wins, I'm sure, this week. Today, not the day to worry about that. There'll be eyes on the big prizes for the rest of the week. Finishing on a score of 11, those on the clock for time. 62.55.11 for Connor Swale and Vital Chance de la Rock. Still Sydney Shulman Desiderio, Shane Sweetnam and Nick Jalajoyo as the top 3. And talking of consistency, Mario Delorier and Emerson. A horse that's been building up nicely behind Bardolina to be a very good Grand Prix horse ride for him for the Wishing Well Farm. Now 10 years of age by El Dorado. Emerson, a horse that's coming into his prime, as Mario Delorier is very much in his prime, Hannah.
Yeah, he really is. When you really look, as you say, at what a consistent record he's had over a period of time, it really is quite incredible. Mario's competed in 13 World Cup finals, the first of those being back in 1984, and the latest was in 2010. 3 Olympic Games as well. And as you say, this horse, this 10-year-old, has been going really well as well. Again, another combination who competed in Calgary last month. A 7th place in a 5-star, as well as a 2nd place in a jump-off class at 5-star level there as well. But they really have a lot of top 5 results recently. 5 or 6 top 5s, in fact, in the past couple of months alone.
Yes, pair that looked impressive in Mexico last year as well, and then come through those winter months, getting some good mileage, really now ready to go into these big 5-star Grand Prix. Mario, who's remained consistent after an amazing early start to his career back in the 80s, has continued at the top, and we're here in 2022. He's still up there. I think he's going to call it a day. Yes, he is. Gives us a little wave. Not quite completed the course there for Mario Delorier and Emerson, but a long way to go yet this week. Staying with the Canadians for Sam Walker and Nalu Quality for the Forest Hill Farm, the 9-year-old mare who's Belgian bred by Numero Uno. Sam with a Derby win behind him at Spruce Meadows back a few weeks ago as well there, but also we saw him win plenty of times as part of Major League Jumping last season as well here, Hannah. And talking of young men in the young part of his career, he's very much that.
Yeah, he is, and just goes from strength to strength. He's 22nd in the under-25 world rankings, and as you say, does extremely well in his own right. The show doesn't that's the team he rides on this year. In Vancouver, he rode Dreaming Blue on the team, and with that horse, he's been very successful recently. This, though, Nalu Quality is one that he's been riding just since this year. He competed this internationally at Vancouver and also at Calgary, jumping in the 3-star and 5-star competitions. They jumped to a 20th place in the winning round in Vancouver, and also to a 13th place at a 3-star competition at Calgary. One that Sam's really working to bring up the rankings. Only a 9-year-old.
Yes, one very much worth keeping an eye on. Sam been bringing this horse through nice and quietly, as you mentioned, in Vancouver and those shows earlier on this year. It'll be the latter part of this year, maybe when we get to those shows in Mexico, when they all really may feel full confidence. But it's a pretty confident run down there to the last as well there, to just pop that without too much trouble, and takes them to 45.49, and will slot into second place so far for Sam Walker and Nalu Quality. So the Canadian for the Northern Lights going into second spot. Israel's Sidney Shulman Desiderio still leading with Narcotic on 42.23, but a lead without having to take too much out of the tank.
Super simple setup. I mean, you just look at it. All you have to do is
Another rider who's very capable of notching up plenty of wins is Christian van der Veen, Bull Run's Prince of Peace. 13 years old, the Holsteiner by Cardenio 2 for the Bull Run Jumpers 6 LLC. Usually from Illinois, now we're based down in Florida. Has been in fine form in Ocala in recent months as well. But those familiar with this rider, who's now part of the Roadrunners, will have seen her winning many, many times and will be absolutely deadly when it comes to the Major League team competition, Hannah.
Yeah, they are fantastic team. She's a fantastic team rider, and it's a fantastic combination. Of course, she jumped this horse as well at the World Cup final in Leipzig this year, and they come here fresh from a win in their most recent competition, which was a 3-star jump-off class in Ocala. As you were saying, they jumped really well there, just dropping one pole across their 4 competitions that they jumped in at that show.
Like I said, one of you will be here, one of you will be over there. I don't know if he's going to have you swap the mic. And then our third camera.
Well, and of course, Michigan here has been a happy hunting ground for them before now. Finished well up. That's that Captive One Leading Rider bonus series that runs here throughout the whole summer of shows. Started in June. And will continue through to the middle part of September, culminating in the American Gold Cup, which of course is also a stage of Major League Jumping.
We have one. Okay. So if you have one, please bring it in. Somebody decided to break the screw off.
Van der Veen, one of the fastest on the circuit.
It's very common.
So we can't get it out now.
Yeah.
Not going to chase the win here today, but
yeah, I'll just have to figure out EC power to it.
as it will get many more in this beautiful Turtle Creek Casino Arena here in Michigan. There we go, nicely through the last 56.02, and so putting 5 on the scoreboard for time.
I always do that when I set up VP kits. I always put a speaker.
So finish the other 5 there for Christian van der Veen into a top 10, still into 9th place at the moment.
I do it because
But again, the big money comes later on into the week. Roadrunners 2 and Alec Lawler for gold for the Lawler show jumping on the 11-year-old Holsteiner. And it's been already a good year for them too, here with a very good start here in Michigan, Hannah.
it's not up.
Yes, exactly. As you say, this horse for gold, just an 11-year-old, but one that they've been jumping really, really well here. Had a win in the 3-star Grand Prix here in June, also 8th in the 3-star Grand Prix the following week as well. For gold is very much up there in Alex String, along with Condaloo. is a horse that he's been riding since 2019, so a good opportunity to really cement their partnership. Also had a second place in a 3-star Grand Prix at Thermal, and so it's really nice to see them stepping up further and jumping at 5-star level with such a consistent record up to 3-star level.
Yeah, it's gone very nicely so far, actually, by the same sire as Kent Farrington's ride, Orifina, for Fashion. And on the lines of Heraldic. Yep, super win here back in the spring shows in the Grand Prix there for Alec Lawler and for Gold. Again, coming back into this arena this week in a step up should give them plenty of confidence. Now for the Californian, also going to be on the clock for time. Takes the swing out, gives them a nice stretched out run at the vertical and just neatly keeps up a little bit of pace down the final few. 55.33, not enough to pick up any time faults, but either way, not going to be worried too much about that. Finishing on the 55.33 for Alec Lawler and for Gold here. Already number one. Back in the spring, can they follow it up? Now, Natalie Dean, Maestro Vicar van den Ark for the Marigold Sporters is the 10-year-old. Natalie being a team rider too, not only for Lugano Diamonds, but for Team USA on a number of occasions now. And they're just part of a very, very good string for her. Of course, riding with the Lamferda team as well. And we'll be really interested to see how this combination go this week, Hannah.
Yeah, as you say, a key part of Lugano Diamonds now this year. She rode on Diamond Devils last year and rode 3 different horses on the team there. None of those were this horse. They were Camilla D, Cocolina and Dons Diamant. This, though, Maestro Vicar Vidi ARK, is really a great horse for her at the moment. They've had a good few top 10s again, jumping up to 2-star and 3-star level at Traverse City here last month, at Tryon and Ocala. Jumped also in some 5-star competitions in Wellington, just having the odd fence down in those competitions. So this is certainly a really good opportunity for them to get used to this level and get used to this arena. They also jumped at the Major League show jumping legs, at some of them last year individually, at 2-star level.
Yeah, score of 12 overall in 43.61 for Natalie. Quite a few based in California. Heading across here to Michigan. Another who's been building his career out in California as well in the recent years has been Alberto Misha of Israel. Medal de Trevera for the hugely experienced Olympic rider. For the Jose Gonzalez Pastos Sport Horses. And Alberto, 12-year-old ride, also part of the Roadrunners squad now. And as I say, doing much of his jumping in success in recent times down there at the Desert Horse Park. Of course, Desert Horse Park, Thermal, California. 2 stages, final 2 stages of Major League jumping in December of this year. Looking forward to heading there once again. A venue that just gets better and better every time we walk in the door. Top class stuff to come at the tail end of the season, but we're only now really at the halfway stage. He's done enough, raises a hand. Alberto Misha, knowing what he wants to achieve here, jumps a few fences, just gives a little stretch, and done and dusted for a little while. Looks like we see Shane Sweetnam once again. Birdie DeThoe, the 11-year-old now for Shane and Verquest LLC. Good records at 145, 65% of the time jumping clears there, with 61% at 150. A really experienced combination in very, very experienced hands here, Hannah.
Yeah, very experienced, and as you say, really successful at in competitions of varying heights, really. They were actually 5th in a 155 class. That was a 3-star class in Lexington back in June. But Shane, in since May, in his last few competitions with this horse, has only finished outside the top 10 twice. And that's across about 12 different competitions with this horse. Really very impressive and very, very consistent again. As you say, part of the Spy Coast Spies team. Ashley Vogel also riding this horse. But it's one that Shane's been riding for a couple of years now.
Yeah, Ashley, who's part of the Sweetenham squad, has had a bit of time off. She had for injury in the middle part of the year. Shane Sweetenham putting a hand up. Bodie the Tho will be heading up that team for the Spy Coast Spies, the leading team captain, as he does so very, very well. Still quite a bit of breeze around, but still just about dry enough for those competing here this afternoon here in Traverse City. Of course, not too far away from the edge of those wonderful Great Lakes. Some fabulous views across there from Traverse City itself. It's a wonderful spot to come to and see the jumping and to also enjoy competing here. It's all about the lifestyle, not just competing here as part of sport, but it's a wonderful spot to come over the summer. So it gets a double tick in the box. Caitlin Campbell, Polina de Lescaut. Really nice combination we saw a lot last year. SWS Training and Sales owned on the 13-year-old Hanoverian. But we talked about consistency there with Shane Sweetenham. This one's been pretty consistent throughout as well, Hannah.
Yeah, competitors for the team competition as well. This year, they are also going to be a key part of the team, I'm sure. Caitlin Campbell on the Roadrunners this year, but Paulina de Lescaut competing in World Cup competitions as well as competing on the team in Monterey, at San Miguel and here in Traverse City. They were also 5th in the 5-star winning round competition here last year.
Yep, and I think they're done and dusted, decided they've done enough, so hand goes up, little wave. Thank you and good night from Caitlin Campbell and Paulina de Lescaut. Still leaves Sydney Shulman Desiderio at the leading spot on 42.23. Tanaka Rotkin now, and Quinn 33. Horse that came from Germany, 12-year-old Holsteiner by Kidam de Revel. Certainly very well bred, as the rider also in the same vein. Of course, family very much involved in the horse show scene previous to Tanner's involvement with Father Alan. And Tanner also part of the Spy Coast Spies, training with Shane Sweetenham, as he has been for the last couple of seasons now. Wonderful career that he had through equitation, the build-up through the system here in the United States. And now making the very best of that as the next level as a Grand Prix rider very successfully. Quinn 33 for him. Hannah a little less exposed at this level.
Yeah, it's quite a new ride actually for Tanner. This horse has previously been ridden by Diego Javier Vivero Viteri, as well as by Sascha Nygaard Andresen, who is the owner of this horse. The horse has been competing around Europe in places like Riesenbeck, and actually competing in Riesenbeck at the European Championships show with Sascha Nygaard Andresen. Now Tanner taking on the reins, certainly a very experienced young rider, really takes such a turn there as well. But the horse has jumped up to 3-star level, has also jumped in the Longines EF Nations Cup competitions as well. That was again under Sascha Nygaard Andresen, so it's had quite an interesting record so far.
And they're clear in 43.7. We'll take them into second place so far for Tanner Rotkin and Quinn 33. Not putting the leader under too much pressure, but very nicely around. Slots into second spot. Sam Walker in third at this point. Sydney Shulman leading the pack on 42. 2, 3. Chandler Meadows now, and the 9-year-old for the Californian rider. The Trailblazers squad, family that have been very much involved in the development of the Desert Horse Park as well. 9-year-old by Cream on Top. For Chandler, who was first year into 5-star last year as part of Major League Jumping. And again, Hannah, this is a pairing that have been getting a mix of 2-star and 5-star experience.
Yeah, exactly. They've actually had 4 top 10 finishes together in their last 6 competitions. Just not this competition going quite their way. This is actually a horse that was previously ridden by Lauren Hoff and by Bertram and Harry Allen. Not quite going the way that Chandler Meadows would like today, unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately not quite to be. Horse just taking a little spin around the arena. Hopefully both A-OK there for Chandler and Italy HCH. Just a reminder of that lineup so far. Sydney Shulman Desiderio leading with Narcotic on 42.23. Tanaka Rockin in second with Quinn 33. And Chandler, we can see on her feet. Not quite the finish they would have wanted. Sam Walker in third at the moment now, Luke Quality, but there plenty more to come for the rest of the week for Chandler. Taking us through what, just coming towards the halfway stage, 32 of the 75 on the original order for this opening class. Skylar Riley, O'Hara van der Voortringhoven of the Wolfstone Stables, an 8-year-old, one we haven't seen too much of yet. And a Belgian ride by Echo van Herten Nierbosch. But Skylar Riley has been certainly putting in some good results, Hannah.
Yeah, been jumping this horse at 4-star level at Upperville. They had a good double clear in a 2-phase competition there. That, as I say, was at 4-star level. But prior to that, Sander Canis of Belgium was competing this horse in the 1-star young horse competitions in 2021. That was in Liège. Not too many international starts for this horse, but as you say, it is only an 8-year-old, so great to see some of these younger horses coming forward in this 5-star competition. Of course, quite a lot of 9-year-olds actually in the field today as well.
Yeah, good opportunity here in Traverse City. Of course, not just with these shows, because of course the continuation of the shows here throughout the weeks. North American Young Riders Championship coming up next week as well. And for Major League, they'll be moving up to Canada, but the shows continue here in Michigan and resuming then in September. But again, one venue giving me a great chance to get the horse into the ring and get some experience. A little bit unsettled so far. We say just an 8-year-old combination. A new one for Skylar. This week will give them a very good springboard to get some mileage behind them. Skylar, another of those that's on the list of past winners of that American Gold Cup as well. We'll see her in action with her experienced Robin de Panthwal and other rides here later into September. Again, working on the next generation now. A little more settled to that final line, and will be lots to look forward to there. Just a little bit of greenness comes out of there with the 8-year-old O'Hara van der Voortringhoven for Skylar Riley of the USA, experienced team rider as she has been for the US squad throughout her career. Sean Jobin back Coquelicot van here to Huvelander Z for the Foxridge Farm Stables, the 10-year-old by Katoki. And Katoki, for those who have watched the next generation of Katoki, are usually pretty fast, so it'll be really interesting to see this one with Sean Jobin. You mentioned this one a little bit earlier on, Hannah.
Yeah, this is the horse that he rode on the team competition in Vancouver for the Show Plus Northern Lights. They just dropped one pole in the first round. The team finished in 6th place, though, so they were not in that top 4 that went forward to the jump-off rounds. Show Plus Northern Lights, as I say, Sean riding alongside Vanessa Mannix and Sam Walker there for that 6th place finish. But this horse has really actually been going very well individually with Sean. They were 9th in a 3-star Grand Prix at Tryon last month, as well as competing all the way up to 5-star individual competitions in Vancouver. They were 14th in the winning round competition there at the Major League Show. And they were 8th in the 5-star 2-phase competition at that very show as well. It's a ride that Sean's had since 2021. This horse was previously ridden by Juliette Farago of France.
And I think deciding they've done enough, a combination with a very good strike rate so far of plus 66% in terms of jumping clears. But they're just quietly walking on out. Ken Farrington back, and one of the experienced horses in his string, including having taken them to the Rolex Top 10 title. Austria 2 for the Take the High Road LLC, the 14-year-old Holsteiner by Casal. For Kent for another spin here. So you'll be seeing a few of those riders going for a second run around this course here on day 1. Really good warm-up session for them for the week for the upcoming big competitions here throughout the Major League Jumping. Several classes to bring you tomorrow for the 5-star. Of course, it's 2-star and 5-star here this week as well. Friday teams and Saturday with the Major League Show Jumping Grand Prix. Just on that shorter 5-stride distance, as you mentioned earlier, just flicks that one away. Again, not too worried about that. Austria 2 with plenty of experience. He's jumped some seriously big tracks throughout the horse's career.
This is the horse that Kent rode in the Rolex IJRC Top 10 final in Geneva in December of last year. Also won a 5-star Grand Prix at White Sulphur Springs in October of last year.
Yep, headed to the Greenbrier to win there. 4 jumping, 1 time, total of 5 in 52.61. So 1 time fault in the second phase, 4 in the first, as we saw at the Captive 1 Oxa there for Kent Farrington and Austria 2. Top 3 still remaining. City Shulman Desiderio, Tanaka Rock in the most recent change, that top 3 in 2nd place, and Sam Walker in 3rd with that Nalu quality. Looks like we're taking a little break for a few minutes time, halfway stage of this opening 5-star class of the week. Just $1,000 spin around for those competing here this week, but a good chance to see who's on the lineup, who's on our cast list for this week's excitement here for the 2nd stage of Major League Show Jumping. We'll be back in around 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, heads up for all the Hunter riders out there that $325,000 in guaranteed prize money is up for grabs this fall at the Traverse City Hunter and Derby Finals. The second annual Hunter and Derby Finals to be held during the American Gold Cup September 14th through 18th. Feature a $100,000 professional derby, a $25,000 non-pro derby final, $50,000 performance horse final, and $25,000 hunter finals for green, junior, and amateur owners. If you want to earn even more money, you can enroll your horse in the Traverse City Hunter Incentive Program, and you will be eligible to win a share of the add-back prize money during the finals. 70% of the enrollment fee goes back into the prize money pot, so the more horses that enroll, the bigger the pot. You can enroll now and reserve your stall for the fall by visiting TraverseCityHorseShows.com. Just about set to get back underway in the Turtle Creek Casino International Ring with the 33 remaining combinations in today's five-star two-phase competition. Coming out of the break, only three clear to this point. Sydney Schulman Desiderio with Narcotic, and Tanner Karotkin with Quinn 33, as well as Sam Walker with Nalu Quality. Those are three fault-free to this point. Sydney in the lead at 42-23. Vanessa Hood comes on course to resume action here in our five-star two-phase competition this afternoon. Wellington-based rider for Take Two LLC with a 13-year-old Connor.
Well, set to go once again, and we are now running with Vanessa Hood once for a second time. Once again, it is Lugano Diamonds team, this time with Connor, former rider of Teddy Vlock. This 13-year-old Westphalian by Coronado NRW, which of course was the top horse ridden by Marcus Erning. Plenty to enjoy about this pair, and they've moulded as a partnership throughout 2022 already, and very swiftly indeed. As we mentioned her a little bit earlier on, highly competitive indeed. And this is going to be a really nice one for her, looking like a good Grand Prix horse to have into her string as well. She's got a good range of those in terms of those big jumping horses for Grand Prix, and plenty to go to the well with speed too. Vanessa Hood and Connor, fairly new partnership into 2022 though, Hannah. Going nicely so far, making a really good shape over the fences at this stage for Vanessa.
Yeah, this is a partnership that's been together since May of this year. They were 15th in the two-star Grand Prix at Vancouver in May. Of course, previously ridden by Stephen Moore earlier this year as well. They've had a couple of clears internationally this year so far, one being at Vancouver and one at Calgary. And they've just stepped up to five-star level together, jumping in Calgary last year.
Yes,
Vanessa.
coming home nicely also, just with the time faults there. 64 around about going to be the time there for Vanessa Hood, as the second part of the round picked up one time fault in the first on 30.96 for Vanessa Hood and Connor. Hannah, you were going to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say she's a really key feature of the Lugano team this year. Vanessa, she was on that team in Vancouver. The team placed 7th, but she was riding Cascal Retto there. That's another of the horses that, as you say, she's got a good depth of talent in her string at the moment. And Cascal Retto is certainly one that's really up there for her.
Paul O'Shea now, second ride for him. Emerald van ter Voorhof for the Emerald Partners and for the Tequestrian Farms. 14-year-old by Emerald, as the name would hint at. Emerald, of course, the sire of this horse that was the top ride for Harry Smolders, and now one of the leading sires in the world from the Euro horse team of Axel Valoyan family. We saw them competing a number of their horses with son Jos out in Florida earlier on this year, and this has been a long time partnership now. And another of those that's very good to go to in the string for Paul O'Shea, because Paul that rode through to World Championship level. Looking forward to those next World Championships coming up on the horizon too. But was there with Manchu Picchu. Just a little bit excitable on the corner there.
Yeah, this horse has been fantastic for Paul. Very recently, they won a 5-star 1 metre 60 competition at Spruce Meadows in July. They were also 7th in a 3-star Grand Prix at Wellington. That was back in November, but really going fantastically well. Paul, of course, a key part of the Eye Candy team, and he, of course, was the individual Major League Show Jumping Series winner last year. He also came 4th in the 5-star Grand Prix in Vancouver at our first leg. That was with the horse Chancelloress, though. This one, Emerald van der Voorhof, just getting better and better.
Yeah, it's just going to pick up time there as well, and going to be a total of 20:63.65, and the clock coming into play too for Paul O'Shea and Emerald van der Voorhof. Cindy Shulman Desiderio, just to remind you, leading so far, as she has been for a good way through this class. Factors remain as the leader from very early on with Narcotic on 42.23. Santiago Lambre, Comtesse 202 for Santiago now. Again, good record for this. A really good, strong set of results for them. Seen them jumping clear 60% of the time over 150 and 160. Similar record, but of course less rounds coming into play there. But a good experienced 5-star combination now, Hannah.
Yeah, really experienced up to that level. Experienced on the Major League team as well. They jumped a good double clear at the Caledon leg last year for the team, but very recently have been jumping plenty of clears or 4 faulting rounds, not least in a 4th place in a 3-star Grand Prix in Lexington, and competing in a number of 3-star Grand Prix, one in Tryon, one in Ocala recently for a 10th place there. Also jumped in the $100,000 3-star Grand Prix at Aiken as well for a win in that competition. That was back in November in that high-profile class. This horse has also jumped well at this venue before, though, as well, with double clear in a 3-star Grand Prix here in September of last year.
Yes, one that's very capable of being a big player this week. Comme il faut, the sire of this horse, another ride of Marcus Henning. Mario Anate, the owner, also a rider who competes right the way through to international level too. And again, another one not too bothered by the clock. He is just popping a nice round. And there we go. So going to be picking up just the time there from first phase and second. 1 in the first phase, 7 in the second, 58.92. Total of 8 there for Santiago Lambre and Comtesse 202 for the Brazilian. Doesn't make an impact on our top group, but again, not too worried about that one. It's the key parts coming up over the next few days where they'll be really putting on the armour and going into battle. Lacey Gilbertson getting set to start with Carlin van Vennehoff for the Seabrook LLC as they make their way in. The 12-year-old by Fantomas de Muse. Also on the team for the Spyco Spies, as she was last year as well. She's a Grand Prix winner in the likes of Tryon. Also pretty solid through Florida this year. And another one under the watchful eye of Shane Sweetnam, Hannah.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, they jumped on the team, well, Lacey jumped on the team in Vancouver at that competition she was on the second place team with this very horse, so for a good clear round in the first round, and then our fastest time in the first jump off, so really impressive performance from her. But this horse has been 10th in the 2-Star Grand Prix at this very venue just a few weeks ago in the middle of July. Also 24th in the 3-Star Grand Prix here the previous week. But they've been in the top 10 more times than not very recently. Jumping very well in Lexington as well as in Vancouver. They were only out of the top 10 twice in Vancouver out of their 5 starts. Only dropped 1 pole across 5 rounds of competition there. The horse is a 12-year-old now. And one, as you say, that Lacey's taken on the reins from Shane Sweetnam, took on this ride earlier this year in February.
Yes, a very good addition to the team once again. Nice athletic stretch out over those couple of fences. Light run to finish off, and it's going to pick up a little bit for time. It's going to be 3 for time at 54.01. 3 there for Lacey Gilbertson and Colin van Vennehoff for the US rider. So she finishes on a score of 3. We're into 6th place at the moment. Not too many clears, but they're not too many trying to bear down on the leading score in this class so far. $1,000 class here, so really about getting them out into the arena and getting a good look around this beautiful spot. Fabulously presented site. Yeah, hard-working team under the Morrissey family. They put so many hours into the presentation and delivery of the events, bearing in mind there's been a good number of weeks that started back into June of the events here in Traverse City. Still all looking in spick and span. First order. Emma Marlowe, Cherokee. Another one that was getting really good mileage last year as part of the Major League Jumping on the Trailblazers team. Based with the Trelawney Farm of Niall, Carey and Cara. Has really benefited from their support. The development of the horses over the last 12 months and more. Nice little neat round so far. Just coming on the inside. Gets home clear. We'll put her up in the top group. Which, regardless of the prize money, is always nice to get a good starting position to finish the day. Goes clear, 56.51 into 4th place. There we go. Very respectable round, very neatly done from Emma Marlowe and Cherokee so far. Finish on a clear. Sydney Shulman Desiderio still leading on 42.23. Tanik Barockin in second on 43.70. Sam Walker in third. Thomas Joffre now, the 12-year-old Cadora for Paul Broder. Holsteiner by Calentino too. And has joined on to the team for the Spyco Spies this year for the Argentinian rider. Another one with a good solid record here in Michigan. And for him, good addition to the team, and I think we're looking forward to seeing him out this week for the Spyco squad here for the lineup in Traverse City. Hannah.
Yeah, it's a really exciting pair. This is really one of the horses that Thomas rides most extensively. They had a 5th place in a 2-Star Grand Prix in Tryon back in July, but they've competed quite extensively in Tryon and in Florida, jumping up to 4-star level. Previously jumped up to 5-star at White Sulphur Springs, but last year jumping here up to 3-star level as well. They were 12th in the 3-star Grand Prix, but won the 2-star Grand Prix here. That was in September of last year.
Yeah, deciding they've done enough. I think they're having jumped the first phase. So Tommy Joffre and Cadora deciding to retire after phase 1. 1LTs now. Toulouse Z for the Blue Trim LLC, the 11-year-old mare by Toulon for 1LTs. And another one that's joined onto the teams this year. And part of that Show Plus squad for the Northern Lights, Hannah.
Yeah, great addition to the Northern Lights team. The Northern Lights were the team that, as we were saying earlier, came 6th in Vancouver, but they certainly did very well in last year's competitions as well. This horse has a really good record up to 1 metre 45 level in particular, 35% clear round rate at that level, and actually 100% clear round rate at 135 level. So it's really interesting to see some of these horses just jumping up the heights and jumping up the rankings. Show Plus Northern Lights represented by Vanessa Mannix, Sean Jobin and Sam Walker at Vancouver. So it'd be interesting to see, as this pair are getting more and more consistent, whether they will be on the roster for the team this week.
Absolutely, and of course team draw coming up at the Bonobo Winery. And well, as we know, the team draws, if you've followed Major League, are not just putting names out of a hat. There will be some sort of task that awaits them. We'll wait to see what it is, but Hannah will be taking you through that. Wind's just getting up a little bit more at the moment, so just not quite so easy. It is Molly Ashcorley, Cappuccino 194 for the Lewisburg Farm. They've been wonderful supporters of the sport for a long time now. And 10-year-old by also Comil Faux that I mentioned a little bit earlier on. That 5-star horse. It was ridden by Marcus Henning, and some of the next generation of Comil Faux coming through now too, like Philo Plus Z, which is a sire of one of the very good horses with Kent Farrington, but also a number in Europe as well at the moment. And a little less experience at the 5-star level as a partnership they've been building up over the last 12 months, but good start rate in terms of percentage clears for 5-star, but again have just been really coming up the ladder to this point. I'll be really interested to see how they go this week.
Yeah, I've been really climbing up the ranks through the 3-star and 4-star competitions, doing very well at Upperville at 4-star level, and having a win at 3-star level in the Lugano Diamonds $400,000 3-star competition at Lexington. That was over fences of 155, so the horse has definitely got the scope, and as I say, Molly rode this horse in the 1 metre 60 4-star Grand Prix, so really does have the scope to go all the way up height-wise. Just getting a bit unsettled, I think, in the conditions in the arena today.
Yep, a little bit blowy, just making it a little bit tougher, but they're very capable, Molly. Just giving the horse some experience there. Just flicks that last fence away as they try and get the legs out of the way, and so just has to have a quiet word at the end. Let's say they're just getting the mileage together. First runs into the 5-star level for Molly Ashcorley, as you say, good record through 3 and 4 on the way up. Sam Walker, Hermelian van der Hoek for the Evergate Stables. Well-experienced horse at 15 years of age. Horse has been riding for a few seasons now, formerly with Niall Nasser, of course, from the Evergate team. And passing the ride over to Sam Walker last season, now part of the Show Plus Northern Lights squad. We've already seen him going to 3rd with Nalu Quality. And again, this one shouldn't pose too much of a problem for them there, Hannah. It's a horse with close to 60% strike rate in terms of jumping clears over some big tracks.
Yeah, lots of clear rounds for this horse. Interestingly, Sam actually won the first competition that he did with this horse internationally. That was in Tryon back in June of last year, but they've jumped a number of the Major League show jumping legs, also jumped on the team with some really good clears here in Traverse City, also at Rockwood, as well as jumping at San Miguel and Monterey as well, up to 5-star level. He jumped really well in Calgary with 3 4, top 10 finishers there too, with only ever dropping 1 pole in some rounds and lots of clears there too.
Just giving a wave of the hand. I think they're done and dusted. A horse that needs very little introduction. 15 years of age now, just a quiet stretch around the course for them, for Sam Walker and Amélie van der Hoek here. Hunter Holloway, Dana de Glen for the decimal support ride for her. The 9-year-old by Malord Carthago. We saw her very experienced Grand Prix World Cup ride a little bit earlier on. Obviously at 9 years of age, not quite the same mileage. So good to see the next of those. Again, a grey for Hunter Holloway on that Crusader squad. It's just really started to get into this higher level here, Hannah.
Yeah, the horse is only 9, but they've been in the top 10 out of 17 times. That's in the number of starts as a combination. So Hunter started riding this horse in late 2021, and as I say, he's been in the top 10 more times than not. They were also on the Crusaders team in Vancouver, just dropping 2 poles there. The team placing 8th, Hunter riding this horse alongside Cali Shot and Nicole Jalajoya. Crusaders sure to be a team that want to make their mark this week to make up for that 8th place.
He pops through the silver birch double. Show plus vertical. Couple of fences from home. And bouncing down the line without too much trouble. Again, time is going to be added on there for them as they finish at 60.95. Will be 9 for time. But a good leg stretch for them around the arena for Hunter Holloway and Dana de Glen. Looking like they've got a bit more to pull out of the tank yet in some bigger classes later on this week. As you can see from the top of your screen, Sydney Shulman and Narcotics still leading on 42.23. Lucy de Lorienne now, and Ananda for the Lucia LLC, the 13-year-old Dutch-bred combination by Nabab the Rev. Lucy, who's, even though she's, 21, 22 now, has won the winning team last year in Aachen. The Nations Cup there with a wonderful Hester has been a really good addition to the US scene already. And they're looking forward to much more from her. A wonderfully experienced Hester that's taken her through right from the start of her serious jumping career, right the way through to jumping at the Wimbledon of jumping at Aachen a few weeks ago. And Ananda coming up through, now 13 years of age, is a good one to turn to as an alternative for her. Hannah, how have they fared this year?
Yeah, this pair are jumping really very well. You know, we often talk about the clear round rate with some of these horses. What's interesting with this pair is that they tend to have about a 50% clear round rate per show. So, for example, when they jumped at Calgary earlier this year, just about a month ago, they jumped 3 clear rounds out of 6 rounds jumped at. Actually, that's it shows that they compete at, which I think really shows that not only can they deliver the clears over a longer period of time, but they can also deliver the clears at the one venue as well. Lucy also in the top 50 in the world now in the under 25 rankings. So again, that really shows you that consistency.
Yeah, and like many, balancing up with their studies as well. So doing a great job. It's just 9 for time. Well, 4 jumping as we saw at the last And time to add in there, so 5 time 4 jumping for Lucy Delorier and Ananda. Good way through this class now, around 20 left to come. And this opening class of the week here for Major League Jumping. Stage 2 of the series for the Major League Series. That'll go to Canada in the next few weeks, heading to Angelstone, and then to Ottawa, so Toronto, Ottawa, and then from there we return here to Traverse City in September for the American Gold Cup meeting. Sure to be a part of that is, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, world number 4, Connor Swale. Theo 160 for Team Philipparts, the Belgian family, but of course a great record across the sport. A wonderful dynasty in the sport, but deciding Connor Swale, the best of those to take on this ride, and he's done so very, very capably, as you'd expect. The 10-year-old Holsteiner by Christian 25, the gelding for Connor Theo 160. Also went well in Florida earlier on this year, and as you mentioned, those clear round rates, this one 64% at 150 levels, so again should handle this pretty easily.
Yeah, should handle this pretty well. I think one thing to note about this combination as well is their speed. I know they perhaps might not be going for the speed in today's competition, but it's certainly something to watch for the rest of the week. The classes that they've won before have been 2-phase and speed competitions, so they've actually won 2 2-phases and 2 speed classes this year alone. Really shows you how quickly they can cover the ground, but of course winning those sorts of classes requires not only speed but accuracy as well, and I think that's what's so impressive about this pair, and a pair that really are invaluable for their team, Eye Candy.
Yes, Connor Swale, invaluable to any team. Pops around without too much strain so far. And again, he'll have some choices which horsepower to go with this week, whether he's aiming towards Grand Prix and towards the team competition as well, but saw him win nicely in Mexico last year as well. And there we go, finishing without too much trouble there at 54.72. It means 3 for time in the second phase in this 2-phase special for Connor Swale and Theo 160, but not touching a rail on the way around. Erin Davis Heineken now for a second ride. NKH Cento Blue, the 12-year-old Oldenburg by Centadel, back to the line of Chaco Blue, because it's out of a mare, Gloria Blue, for this gelding for Erin Davis Heineken. Saw her and a long-time partner Leonie a little bit earlier on. And now we'll see. I think this is also one that's been ridden by her husband Christian as well.
Yeah, this is a relatively new ride for Erin. You know, in fact, no international starts for them yet. It's one that her husband, Christian Heineken, as you say, has been riding quite a lot, all the way up to 5-star level. He's also ridden this on the Major League show jumping teams back in Thermal last year and also in Monterey, hosting clear rounds in both of those competitions. He also jumped this horse at the World Cup competition in Fort Worth.
Yeah, Standard Fort Worth, where they're behind the development of that new World Cup show there. And eventual World Cup finals is one in coming years. Christian, the horse that he actually rode, as memory serves, for the winning ride in Monterey last season as well. So very well there. Christian, so he's been a long-time rider of this horse, but Erin taking up the reins at the moment. Again, just going to touch over the time allowed for them. And all done and dusted with 5 in each. 30.45 from the first phase, 5 from the second, total of 10, 36.85. And for that rail coming in phase 1, just time faults in phase 2 for Erin Davis Heineken and NKH Cento Blue. Natalie Dean now, and once again for the Californian with the Marigold Sport horses. This time it is an 11-year-old Kashmir van Schuterhof side Camilla D for Natalie. And as we mentioned, she's got a superb string of horses around her now. She's Cup team already for the US, that included in Spruce Meadows previously. And then they've been a great asset to the Lugano Diamonds team this year for that new squad as part of that Major League. A few new revamped squads this year. It was last year the inaugural year, everybody really getting their eyes, head and ears around the concept. Now really starting to take shape. Natalie, neat little run into this silver birch double. And this is not going to be far away. It's going to be a nice finish for them. Natalie Dean going into 3rd place at the stage with Camilla D. So top 3 for her, 45.40. Again, not having to go too deeply into the fuel tank. And that's a nice finish for them to go 3rd. Sidney Shulman, Desiderio staying in lead, Tanaka Rotkin in 2nd. Kyle King now, Enzo. For the US rider, part of the Roadrunners team. We mentioned a little bit earlier on how well he went here last year. It's a very good coffee to go. It's a ride for him. For the Californian, a 2nd spin around, and I'm sure delighted to be back into this Michigan arena, Hannah.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, he's had a number of really good horses and several good horses jumping on the Major League team competitions, and this certainly is one that he's ridden several times for the team. Rode this horse in Vancouver for the team, just for 2 fences down, but also jumped in Monterey, also in San Miguel for just the 1 fence down there. They were 4th as well in the 5-star Major League Grand Prix at Caledon in September of last year as well, but really been getting some nice results and some really good clears recently, particularly in Vancouver. That was a very successful show for them.
Yes, another beautifully presented family from the Tidball family, and Chris Pack and all his team. Thunderbird for the first time this year. Of course, we were due to head there last year, but with all the travel restrictions, etc., it wasn't quite possible, but delighted this year that we were able to head up to T-Bird. Those back-to-back 5 stars with that Major League jumping involved there on that wonderful grass field. What a fabulous hospitality setup they do have, and it is great for horses, absolutely great for horses. Into 2nd spot for Kyle King and Enzo, 42.97, one that's getting a little bit closer to Sidney Shulman Desiderio in the latter part of stages here. Kyle King and Enzo not needing to go full Ferrari, but will drop into 2nd spot. Catherine Strauss now on the Crusader team. Catherine with Cincinnati Kid 7, the 10-year-old Holsteiner by Clarimo. Also training with the Madden team. Another one that's really moved up now from good national success to really start to cut her teeth in the international classes.
Yeah, Catherine Strauss was really successful in the Youth North American Championships in the past. That was back in 2012 and 2013 on the gold medal winning team at both of those years of that competition. Also, plenty of medals at the Pan American Games, Team Silver 2015 and Team Gold in 2018. Cincinnati Kid, though, is a horse that she's competing up to the very top level. She's been competing this in Calgary as well as in Vancouver, and getting miles in Wellington, jumping up to 3-star level, but also in a good number of under 25 classes as well. Some good results in the under 25 Grand Prix. Just a couple of fences down in those. So this is a horse, of course, that Catherine took over the ride in 2021. Their first competition together, in fact, was here at Traverse City. It's a ride that she took over from Peter Clemens.
Peter Clemens, also a cousin of the Philip Hart's family. Very well at Hickstead last week as part of the Nations Cup squad there, and have been great producers of horses and continue to be, and producing a nice round there, finishing on the 4 in the second phase, 1 in the first, 30.47, so just the time there for Catherine Strauss and Cincinnati Kid. Easy man just in the background quietly watching, and on 5, but again not too much to worry about. Getting a nice spin round. Carl Cook, Kalinka van Zugvliet, or Carl, bucking and a going. Tremendous run last year here in Traverse City with a string of wins, including Grand Prix. Sydney Osby's Kalinka, now 12 years of age, the Belgian-bred ride by Thunder van der Zoethoven. Unfortunately, the first fence there, but just a little bit fired up to start with. But again, good purpose this class to be able to get in this ring and have a run here. And I think Carl with us last week here, last run in Michigan. Here for the few weeks, of course, some very good shows here through to the last few weeks, the 3, the 5 stars, and then next week into the North American Young Riders Championship alongside the FEI classes here as well. But Carl picking up big prize money as part of that Captive 1 series here last year, and just corrects the hat, not retiring yet, I don't think. Or maybe he is. Yeah. Yeah, just a touch of the hat and saying thank you very much. So Carl Cook deciding to retire. Part of Team Helios. And will be really interesting to see him apart there, because such a brilliant man against the clock, gives it absolutely 100%. So a good addition to that team, headed up by Ashley Bonds. Freddie Vasquez, Kirschwasser SCF, horse that was bred by the Spy Coast Farm, by their stallion Amaretto Darko, out of Berlichin de Muse, which was by Nabab Derev for the US bred horse. Started out with Spy Coast Farm and the team there, of course, including Shane Sweetnam, and the Puerto Rican rider. Been here in Michigan throughout the months now, and really produced some solid results, especially back there in the spring. And for them, this could be another solid week for them, Hannah.
Yeah, 4 top 10 finishes for this pair at Traverse City in the last few months, as you say, and very, very successful early on. They had a great double clear and a fast round in the jump-off for a second place in the 3-star Grand Prix in June at this very venue. But Kirschwasser SCF is this 12-year-old that's been going better and better, really, for Freddie. You know, he's been jumping this in the 5-star competitions at the major league shows since last summer. He's 10th in the 5-star Grand Prix here, and in the first week of competition last year. Competed quite extensively in Wellington as well. Had a good few results there. A 3rd place at 3-star level, and a 5th place, as I say, in a 3-star here in June. He was one of them most recent successes.
1 in the first part for time, and 6 in the second. 57.73 for Freddie Vasquez and Gershwasser SCF for the ride on the Spikos produced horse. Coming in confidence after some good runs in the early part of the shows here in Traverse City. Lacey Gilbertson returning now with Damsel Saint-Emel. Again, one that's been stepping up a little bit more. 9-year-olds jumped a couple, well, 150 so far. And for the 9-year-old by Uppercut Quebec. This again could be a good week for the French-bred horse to get some very good mileage with Lacey, as you say. She was on the team back in Vancouver. A chance once again for the Spiko Spies.
Yeah, this horse is only 9 and she's just started stepping it up to 5-star level. In Vancouver, in fact, they were 5th in a 5-star jump-off class there, of course, at that competition in May. But it's not been a particularly long-standing partnership. They've been competing a lot this year. Shane Sweetnam took over the reins for a couple of competitions, but it's one that Lacey's really been going from strength to strength with. They had a win at Lexington in June in a 3-star competition. That was over fences of this height of 140. They've been jumping pretty well here in the last few weeks as well. They've had a 4th at 3-star level and also jumped in the 2-star Grand Prix to just have the 1 fence down. It's not the horse that she rode in the team competition in Vancouver, but as a 9-year-old, perhaps she's just getting the miles at this level, perhaps has an eye on being selected for the team with this horse in the future.
Neatly home, it will be time that is on the clock there. 7 for time, 58 at 7-1, but that's all that will worry them, and it won't worry them too much because they weren't too aiming at that leading time. They're aiming for a nice round behind, and that's what they get. Lacey Gilbertson, Damsel Saint-Emel. Lovely 9-year-old by Uppercut Quebec will feature later on into the week. Nick Telejoya now, and again for the Berry Group LLC, this time the 11-year-old by Conthagos. That's nice and easy. And for this 11-year-old that's out of Gerlinda, which was by Kidam's Rubin, Nick Telejoya, we saw a little bit earlier on the very good Cornets Cambridge. And another one being produced from Nick and the Wembley Farms team.
Yeah, not one that Nick's been competing too much. He's competed at here and at Traverse City in the last few weeks. Just had 1 pole down in the 3 rounds they've jumped here, but this was also ridden by the Polish rider Przemysław Koniopacki. And then previously with Jacek Zagor of Poland as well. So again, quite an interesting horse actually, quite an interesting record. Plenty of competitions all around Europe. Now heads to the international stage in the USA under Nick. They were 20th in the 2-star Grand Prix here. As I say, just the 1 fence down in that competition.
It's already looking like a pair that could have some speed around them. It's a nice inside turn there. Be a good addition to the Crusaders squad for Nick as he strengthens the string. 42.23 leading time so far. Again, regardless, it's always good to see nice top 5 on your record. This one won't be too far away. They're going to go round here and just keep moving around the corner. As you can see, wind is taking hold at the moment. More than breezy afternoon here in Michigan. Just down for last is just going to pick up a little bit of time there as well. It's got a wider route. But Nick Telejoya and Targus. Just taking it to the final stages on 49 seconds. And so inside the time and into 7th place for Nick.
It really is so impressive over the course of this competition how long Sydney Schulman Desiderio has held on to that lead. You know, it's only really Kyle King that's got particularly close, but it's really amazing that how long she's held on to the top spot, I think.
Well, Talo de Jong now also from that big contingent from California. The 10-year-old Dutch-bred mare by Van Gogh is Heavenly Star for Tali, coming into the 5-star competitions here in Traverse City for the first time. Really quite a breeze out there now, but all staying very calm. The saddle there around the arena. A few additions to the fences, as you can see this year. Some fabulous fences here. The French Bulldogs, a new one for 2022. The Marlins, a captive one. Continue as part of the circuit, but here in Michigan, very good. A lot of different kit. Not too keen on the Cabana Coast fence for some reason. Does well to keep moving. There we go.
Does really well to get that back and just keep the horse moving forward, as you say. I mean, it's quite unusual. This horse is really quite experienced, up to 5-star level, and she's also competed, this horse, in the Youth Nations Cup competitions, and actually in the Youth Nations Cup final last year in Kronenberg. So certainly a horse that's used to a big stage.
It's coming home well, just that one blip on the record for the class. So not too much to worry about, finishing with 11 for time in that second phase. Well, of course, just with that hesitation coming into the Cabana Coast, that takes up the score. 1 for time in the first. She did keep moving around there, but still picked up the time at 58.75 for Tali de Jong and set Heavenly Star this time around. Chandler Meadows once again now, and Konak as her second ride, the Belgian 12-year-old by Nabab the Rev, and the Californians, and at this time on the Trailblazers team. Partnership has been together now for quite a while.
Yeah, they've been getting stronger and stronger throughout 2022. The horse was previously ridden before that by Gilles Thomas of Belgium. Chandler not on the Trailblazers team at the first leg of the series, but this is one of the horse's first competitions at 5-star level. They've really been cementing their partnership up to 3-star. That's in Lexington and in Tryon. A couple of top 10s on their record together, but really just getting the miles in, just really cementing the partnership.
This nice horse built up by Gilles Thomas of Belgium, the 24-year-old rider, who in fact won his first 5-star Grand Prix last week at Hickston at the King's Cup there. And again, like many of the Belgians, has been brought up, bringing up some super young horses. And here, looking like a much better run for her second tour around here for Chandler, and Koenig this time on 53.4. So that will just edge a little bit of time for Konak. Paul O'Shea on course now with Hellcat for Team Eye Candy, the 11-year-old by Cassandra van Het Bremhoff. Another of the horses being a go-to horse for him as part of Major League Jumping as well. Paul, who's now been based out here in the US for a long time now, because started his career in Ireland on home ground there. And his brilliance carried on across the water. But yes, really quite a breeze at the moment for them. The point is to deal with all conditions, and Paul O'Shea, like all top riders, gets the focus on and just gets into their cocoon, and off they carry on. But again, like Squirt got a little bit earlier on, Hannah, this is one that he could well be turning to quite a lot this week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's one of the riders that made the most appearances on the team competition last year. He made 8 appearances for Eye Candy, but Hellcat's really a horse that I wouldn't necessarily even say that it was secondary in his string, because they've had 3 top 10 finishes in 5-star competitions at Spruce Meadows alone in July. At the Vancouver leg of this series, they just had 1 fence down in the winning round competition. So again, really just getting stronger and stronger, and it's great for Paul to have a number of horses at the top level, not only for the team competition, but, you know, as we were saying earlier, he was the leading rider individually in the series last year, and I'm sure he'll have his eye on trying to replicate that success, or certainly get close to it.
Certainly can, and Paul O'Shea and Hellcat there. The good thing is Team Eye Candy give the horses some great names as well. Squirt Gun and Hellcat, the horses for Paul O'Shea this week. Alex Granato now. Helios found a Nusahivi for the next, for the individual rider for the USA. Of course, we saw him on Kalishan W a little bit earlier on. Now with the 10-year-old for the Kisma Equestrian. The Dutch-bred 10-year-old by Numero Uno. Alex, of course, with that one super horse, but has now developed a couple of others around to support. Again, this a new are into this level, Hannah.
Yeah, this is their first start at 5-star level. They've been jumping at 2 and 3-star. 8th in the 3-star Grand Prix here. Just a few days ago, actually. Also, they were then 22nd in the 2-star Grand Prix, but that doesn't quite reflect the fact that they just had the 1 fence down there. They also won a 3-star 150 class at Lexington, so it was a really good result for them. But it's pretty impressive to have those good results already, because Alex has only been riding this horse internationally since June. It was previously ridden by Gustavo Prato of Argentina, and before that by Chantal Winstra of the Netherlands. This is a 10-year-old that's really been getting going in 2022 internationally. Had a bit of a break from competition in 2020 and 2021.
And 49.08 there, the score for Alex and Helios. Jacqueline Steffens now, and the well-established freaky horse that she's produced through. And on the Eye Candy team once again, this has been her real go-to horse that she's brought through to the 2-star levels, gone very well in the 2-star Grand Prix, and then now really moved up into the 5-star level for this 12-year-old Dutch-bred horse by Darko. Darko, of course, was the top horse of Ludo Philipparts, father of Olivier and Nicolas, and again has returned to the top level himself. But Freaky, a good next generation horse from there, and is really a little like Hester for her in her own way, has been her horse of a lifetime through Hannah so far.
Yeah, this horse has just been fantastic for Jacqueline Steffens. As you say, right up to the very top level. She's competed this horse in a couple of Nations Cup competitions in Quapex Pan in Mexico and in Vancouver. Not having too many fences down in those either. Had a good clear in Quapex Pan. But this has been the horse that has been ridden more than any other on the Major League Show Jumping circuit in 2021. Made 8 appearances for the Eye Candy team with Jacqueline. And that really enabled them to get the miles on the clock and really to cement themselves at the top level. They had a great win in a 5-star jump-off competition at Calgary at the start of last month, but they're getting better and better results all the time.
Yeah, 56.3 the time there, and 56.3 the final time for Jacqueline Steffens and Freaky. Santiago Lambre now of Brazil. Pampero by Chaco Blue. Saw plenty of Chaco Blues in the field so far. And now Santiago aboard this 12-year-old Hannah.
Yeah, as you say, it's really interesting. You know, you see more and more horses with that Chaco Blue breeding. Some Comme il Faut horses as well, quite popular in this lineup. But Pampero is a horse that's been going really, really well with Santiago. Second in 3-star Grand Prix of Ocala at the start of last month. Santiago is within the top 100 in the world at the moment as well. He's 65th. This is a horse that was previously ridden by Rodrigo Lambre and by Mario Ornate of Mexico as well. Santiago's been getting things going more and more strongly since February of this year. That win that I mentioned there at Ocala, their best result. Just again opting to save the horse for another day, I think.
Yes, just hanging on out for Santiago Lambre and Pampero. A lot of stages here coming into our final few in this opening class of the 5-star week. And still Sydney Shulman Desiderio leading, Kyle King in second with Enzo Tanakorokin in third. Alberto Misha and Firewall for Eduardo Leon, terrific owner, and of course part organiser of the shows in San Miguel as well. 12-year-old Dutch-bred horse by Lexigan for Alberto Misha.
This is a horse that Alberto took over from Theo Gen of the USA. He started riding this horse earlier this year. And they've had 6 top 10 finishes, including all the way up to 4-star level. Now making the shift up to 5-star. Had a second at 4-star level in a 2-phase in Wellington. That was in March. They've had a little bit of a break since then in international competition. Now coming back and looking pretty strong here. Looking quick across the ground as well.
Yes, this one not too far away. The leading time so far, 42.23, and good round there. 41.43 for Alberto Misha and Firewall. and should take them as our new leaders here in this afternoon's two-phase for Roberto Misha.
Sydney Shawman held on to that lead for such a very long time, but that pair were just a little bit too quick.
Lucy Delorier now and Hester for Mum Lisa Delorier now 17 years of age. Mentioned this horse a little bit earlier on, what a fantastic horse it is. And from those team appearances to the likes of Aachen and in the US as well, the pairing together has been something very special indeed, continues to be, and lovely to see them here, Hannah.
Yes, so nice to see them competing here. As you say, they've been very successful for a good while, competing in the Junior North American Championships and the Young Riders for individual gold. That's back in 2015. Also twice appeared on the team for the Pan American Games, but more recently jumping in Calgary all the way up to 5-star level. Most recently a 6th in a 5-star jump-off competition there. 4th in the 4-star Grand Prix at Upperville as well. This pair have also had some wins at 5-star level earlier in 2021. A really, really impressive record for them.
Yeah, lovely to see, and a pairing that very much capable of the major 5-star level. One time fault there in the first phase. But just each time this pairing going out, a delight to watch. Right through the juniors, right the way through to major 5-star level with Lucy. And I think they might have decided they've done enough because they've got nothing to prove. Yep, hand goes up, so Lucy Delorier elected to retire with the lovely Hester.
So nice to see a combination, as you say, coming all the way from junior level to then competing in such high-profile competitions like the Rolex Grand Prix, competing in that Rolex Grand Prix of Aachen last year. So very impressive to do that all the way through.
So Hunter Holloway now and Eastern Jam, the well-established pairing together for the Hayes Investment Corporation. 13-year-old Dutch-bred ride by Lexicon for Hunter. Brings out what I think a 3rd ride for the class so far. Just coming into our final few. Hunter Holloway and Eastern Jam are on the 4. Into the 2nd phase here. And again, he's going to have a little bit of time to add there. Not too much trouble at 60.614. And time to add for Hunter Holloway and Eastern Jam. Just dropping the rail there at the Silver Birch double. So Alberto Michan leading the way so far, just over the 41 mark. Looks like Kristen van der Veen heading on in now with Bull Runs Jira as the next the rides for Kristen. An 8-year-old here for Kristen van der Veen, the Holsteiner by Ulrico. Out of Canella, that was by Coleman.
Yeah, pretty impressively, she's only ever finished in the top 10 with this horse. A first, a second, a fourth and a ninth. Only 4 international starts for them so far. Those were in competitions across Akala and Tryon, the win being at Akala. And those good results come as a result of clears in every single one of those rounds with Kristen. That's a total of 7 rounds internationally. The horse was previously with Lerna Glissik of Germany. Kristen taking over the reins in March of this year.
Yeah, just a little bit green down that line there. But an 8-year-old, you say, terrific record so far. Really nice to see with her building some new horses through. There's many wins with Frosty, Faustino de Tilly. And I think she may have decided they've done enough today. No, we're going to carry on. Just taking it very quietly around here and sensibly here with the younger rides. Alberto Michan leading so far 41-43. Just around 3 left to go. And there we go. It'll be time to add there 6 in the first phase, 17 in the second, 68-19 for Kristen van der Veen, and Bull Runs Jira. Total of 23 overall. Again, just really getting a bit of ring time in there for them. Like Juan Ortiz and Kinky Boy Van Het Gildenhof then going to be our next to go. So we're just taking us into our final couple of horses here. One second ride as well.
Again, not the most established combination. They're just pretty established this year, but it's a horse previously ridden by Frank Schutert. You can really see the improvement, though, over the course of this pair's partnership. They were 4th in the 3-star Grand Prix most recently in Tryon, 9th in the very similar competition a few weeks prior to that, but really seeing the clears coming thick and fast in their record now. Clear and 4 faulting rounds becoming the norm for them.
And for home with time there to add, and it's going to see 14 in all, 65, 47, 14 for Juan Ortiz and Kinky Boy Van Head. Gilden Hoff seeing our final couple in the ring there. Tanner Karok in the foreground, and I think Conor Reagan and Medina DR in the background there. So Tanner Karotkin setting off on Ideal for the Seabrook LLC and Sweet Oak Farm, the 10-year-old Swedish bred horse by Cardento. Second ride coming into the final stages here with Alberto Michan leading with Nabal de Trevera on 41-43, Hannah.
Yeah, this combination have been going very, very well as well. Tanner's got some great horses at the moment, and this pair have been jumping very well here at Traverse City. 4 top 10 finishes here. And only dropping 1 pole in any competition. 1 time fault in another one at this very venue, but 5th in the 2-star Grand Prix here. Really, really impressive. They also jumped in the Major League show at Vancouver just a few weeks ago. And they've really been cementing their partnership up to 5-star level. Tanner been riding this horse since the start of this year. Also had a win in an under-25 class in Wellington, so that also just shows you how successful. And again, we've talked about consistency earlier on in this competition. This is certainly another combination who've got that in abundance, really.
And plenty of nice strides in abundance there for Tanner Karotkin and Ideal. 62.03. And looks like final combination of Conor Regan, well-established one indeed. Medini DR for Conor. And for the Dynamite Ranch. And Conor the Irish rider, another well-established one here in the US. Again, very good producer of horses through. Looks like it'll be a final ride in our class, led by Alberto Michan. Sidney Schulman Desiderio now in second, Kyle King in third. Like I say, Hannah, well-established partnership here. We'll see how the Irishman fares this week.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a really fantastic Irish contingent coming forward this week. Some really exciting partnerships, some really strong riders, both individually and in the team competition. Conor been riding this horse since 2020, so this is one of the more established partnerships that we've seen recently. And again, plenty of top 10 finishes. The second with a great double clear recently in a 3-star competition in Tryon. Not too established at 5-star level, but they have competed successfully up to 4-star. Horse was previously ridden by Antonia Andersson of Sweden. That was back in 2018. Quite a lot of competitions already with Conor, considering that the horse is only 10 years old. Very exciting pair for the future.
And time of 50.89 there for Conor Regan and Medini DR. So that will conclude our first 5-star class of the week, and as I say, a good opportunity for those to get into this fabulous arena here and get a shot of what's coming up. And again, hopefully giving you a little bit of an introduction of those riders you're going to see throughout the week here in Michigan. A win for combination there of Alberto Michan, and well done to him. Sidney Schulman Desiderio in second, Carl King in third. Top three there. Very well done to them. Presentation on its way. Hannah and I will be joining you alongside a group of riders over the next few days for the classes here in Traverse City in this Turtle Creek Casino and Hotel International Arena. Draw party tonight at Bonobo Winery. Keep an eye on all the social media for Major League Jumping to find out how they get on. It's always lots of fun. And, who will come out as the leading team going into the team competition? Let's say follow on social and also join us here on Friday. Tomorrow's big class, tomorrow afternoon. See you then.
Two-phase competition. Kyle King and Enzo finishing in third. The Ocala-based rider for the U.S. Showing the Seabright Investment Consultants entry. Second award at Israel, Sydney Schulman Desiderio with Narcotic Venedinjashov. It's our third combination to come on course. She held the lead for almost the entire class until Alberto Michan replaced her at the top down the final stretch. And Israeli rider Alberto Michan will take the top call with Firewall, owned by Eduardo Leon, bringing back our top three now for presentations. If you would please rise and remove cover for the national anthem of Israel in honor of today's five-star winner, Alberto Michan. Photos now for our top three, and the first to come forward for photos will be our highest ranking, or highest pinning American rider in the class today, Kyle King, Ocala, Florida-based rider with the 13-year-old gelding Enzo, owned by Seabright Investment Consultants of Vancouver, British Columbia. Clear throughout phase two, time 42.97, and for the U.S. rider on his way to a third place finish in our five-star two-phase. Sydney Schulman Desiderio will be the next to come forward for photos, ultimately finishing in second. She was the third to go, set the pace at 42.23, and that lead held for about 70 starters until Alberto Michan. Sydney Schulman Desiderio's second award with the Elon Further entry, Narcotic Venedinjashov, a 9-year-old Belgian-bred mare by Harley Video. Alberto Michan, it will be the final to come forward for photos in our presentation of the five-star two-phase competition. Eduardo Leon of Houston, Texas, the owner of this 12-year-old Dutch-bred gelding by Lexicon. Roberto Michon Firewall winning combination out of a field of 75 in our 5-star 2-phase competition. Alberto leading us on a victory lap, winning rider in our first 5-star competition of the week with Eduardo Leon's Firewall. Sidney Shulman Desiderio follows with Narcotica Van Dingenshoff. And third, the U.S. Rider Cal King with Enzo. Yeah, continuing with those results, Tanner Karatkin places 4th with Quinn 33. Natalie Dean in 5th with Camilla D. 6th to Sam Walker with Nalu Quality. 7th, Emma Marlowe aboard a Cherokee. Nick DeLaGioia takes 8th place honors with Contargos. Connor O'Regan 9th with Mendini DR. Shane Sweetnam 10th with Namaste at Eikeveld. 11th, Nick DeLaGioia again, this time with Cornets Cambridge. And 12th, Chandler Meadows with Conant.